Well, I feel like that conversation was pretty interesting. And by interesting, I don't mean like great, but what I remember Frank mentioning that he doesn't she seemed cool, but he didn't see future when he was talking to her. So maybe her joking and maybe her just maybe it was too much. He said something about her being too bubbly. Like
Oh
too
yeah.
yeah, too bubbly, too, you know, happy maybe. I don't know. But I think they were talking about tattoos, and I think that it's okay to mention it, but I think she just kind of kept going. Like I have one here, and I have one somewhere else, and somewhere else, and oops, and I think she just kept going, and I think he was kind of like, okay, that's enough, you know. And they just weren't gelling. But I think it was really hard for her to read the room. I think she just really wanted to, because she's bubbly, because Libba is bubbly and looks like she just loves people. She wants to talk. And, you know, I think that she didn't realize that Frank was really not feeling it. With Aisha, I believe that there's a possibility that things can grow with her and Frank, because he mentioned that his last relationship he didn't feel like cherished, and the woman couldn't like she couldn't really recognize him for the great man that he was being, and she's been married before. So I believe that she wants to be like a wife to someone. And so maybe she can offer him that attention, that love. I don't know about licking the face and all of that, but she can, you know, offer that attention that he wants. She wants to be courted. She wants to be pursued. And Frank might be the guy to do that. I'm not sure yet. It's still early, but I hope she doesn't go running around licking his face, because that would be super awkward. So she did mention that that's something she is okay doing. And I'm like, no, girl, no. Germs. People got cooties. So yeah. So we'll see. But Libba, I think for her, I know that like I said, she was too bubbly. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe you guys can translate what that really means to us women, but I'm not sure. But because I could be bubbly, but I also know how to read when someone's not into me, right? And so I don't know. So yeah. So I think there's hope for them. So we'll see.
Good points. Appreciate it. Maria, what was your thoughts? And maybe you can interpret too bubbly.
Yes. That's too bubbly. Like, start with the yes. Like it's
Yeah.
it's like overreacting to everything. It's like, we talked about this last night. It's almost like she removed a layer of like mystery, because she was just so much of an open book about everything. When they were talking about the tattoos, like they just kind of touched on it. It's one of them subject matters that comes up in, small talk conversation, but then she took it to like the whole nother level. Like, now we know that you got a tattoo above your butt, you got a tattoo in places that, the sun does not shine. And, it didn't leave much to the imagination, no mystery. Like, it was just too much. Also, it was a thirsty vibe. It's like a layer of immaturity, like act like you've been here before, like act like. But the thing is that she has not been dating for a long time, because she was in a 20-year-long marriage. So this is her first entry back into the dating world. I think this should not have been what she signed up for. I think she should have like took her time and like been on some dating apps for a little bit, gone on a few dates, gone out with some girlfriends, or something first before entering national television and doing this. So it did come off. She was overexcitable. You got to have a little bit of coyness, a little bit of smoothness, where you're not too easily impressed or too overreacting about everything, because you want to give people a chance to try and like be interested in getting to know you more. But I mean, that being said, if the worst thing someone is saying about you is that you're too bubbly, you can grow from that. The world is not lost. At the end of the day, it's not necessarily a negative trait. You still are a positive person, probably a loving person. So just find somebody else who maybe will appreciate that. And, maybe she should have talked to, what's his name? The guy that got eliminated. I forgot his name.
Lamont.
Lamont, right. Like, he's a little bit socially awkward himself, Maybe he would have had a lot more leeway to give her with her personality type, because maybe he would have just been excited to just be in the presence of a lady who's interested in him, because he said that he feels lonely a lot, right? So I think he just wants someone who's gonna spice up his life, give him some excitement. So she could be a good fit for him. So I don't want her to think that because her feedback was too bubbly, that somebody out there wouldn't appreciate that about her. Just in this environment, those guys, they think that they're cool, or like too good for her or whatever. So they're going to have that feedback. They're not going to be drawn in, but somebody out there will. So that's all I got to say.
I hear you, Maria. I don't know if someone. No, jokes. Of course, there'll be someone out for if she finds them in time. You might run out of time, but yeah. Energy. Listen, I got nothing wrong with energy. I think it's just context, and you gotta know who you're doing it in front of, and I think it just wasn't received well by Frank. And yeah, she just come off a little bit too eager. Again, I think everything's about delivery. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you deliver it in a way, you get away with it. It's similar to Lamont. He was just too obvious with the delivery of what he was talking about, and she too was a bit too obvious by saying there is a tattoo that is somewhere, and it's like, yeah, okay, cool. I hear you, but I'm not here for it. Do you know what I'm saying? But had it been delivered in maybe another way, she might have got a different response. You feel me? Or maybe sometimes you're just not someone's preference, so it doesn't matter what you do, you ain't gonna get a response. So I'm hearing you. Speaking to the masses, what was your thought of the Frank, the Libby, and the Aisha situation?
So with the three of them in that setting, it kind of threw me off a little bit, because it was just kind of hard to tell how things were really flowing. When they were talking about the whole tattoo thing, the one thing that Frank, like, I feel like Frank kind of like egged it on a little bit, because he was like, oh, let us see, or something like that. And I'm like, well, if you're not really interested in her, why would you, add that little comment to it? I don't know if he was just trying to find a way to get her to go somewhere else. I'm not really sure. But when he kind of add that little point to it, I'm like, okay, Frank, I don't know. But the whole situation was just kind of odd in itself personally. And I don't want to say if it was nice, nasty. I don't want to say that in regards to like Frank's responses with the whole scenario, but it was just an awkward scenario. I don't know about him and Aisha per se. I know we've seen some clips later down the line, and that will probably give us better context down the line in regards to, like when she popped off, and I think it might have been him, how he would handle something like that. So I don't really have a whole lot at the moment, because that whole scene was just kind of off to me. I don't know if that scene even need to be put in that episode. It didn't flow to me. So it's just really hard to really tell in regards to it. And I mean, talking about Aisha, I know she's been married before. She has kids, different things like that. But it just still wasn't enough context to really go off of, to really see between the two of them. Like, is he okay with the kids? Do he want the kids? We didn't really get enough from them for this first episode. So we're just going to have to wait and see as things unfold to really be able to give some type of insight concerning them two and three. So yeah.